over all of our ingredients for our crispy Parmesan crusted chicken breast, and this is super easy. And one of the reasons I'm making this is as a suggestion for your Easter table. If you're going to be cooking for a lot of people, this goes together really fast. It can be made ahead and popped in the refrigerator before baking. It only takes about a half an hour to cook, and then you can have this on your Easter buffet in no time. So it's a really good no fuss, no muss dish. I'm starting off with 2 pounds of chicken breast, and I have filleted them, meaning I've cut each chicken breast into 2 cutlets the flat way. We're going to build our crust. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to brush this with some pesto. Now this is prepared pesto out of a jar. We're going to brush each chicken breast with some pesto, and then we're going to top it with a crusty topping, and as it bakes it's going to turn delicious. And that crusty topping is going to have 1 cup of panko breadcrumb, 1 cup of fresh shredded mozzarella, and 1 cup of Parmesan cheese that's grated. We're also going to add some olive oil to that blend and some seasoning. I have some Italian seasoning in here, some dried basil, and some cracked black pepper. Not adding any salt because the Parmesan is plenty salty already. Build our crunchy topping and our, well, it's crunchy and cheesy. Let's get a bowl, and we're going to put all of this goodness in the bowl together. The breadcrumb, the Parmesan, the mozzarella cheese. Just get in here, and if you're using pre-shredded mozzarella, that's fine, no worries. You see if you can get whole milk mozzarella though. I know that I can buy it pre-shredded at one of my grocery stores, and so if you can get whole milk, that would be preferred because it's going to give this a really beautiful rich taste. But if all you can find is the part skim, then I totally get it, and it's going to be just as delicious either way. But get in here and mix these up together, because sometimes that mozzarella has a tendency to kind of clump together after you grate it. I'm going to toss in all of our seasonings, give that a good toss. You can do this with a spoon, you don't have to do it with your hands. I just find that it's, for me, you get a better idea if everything's blended really well with your hands. And like Nanny used to say, hands were made before forks. I have about 1/4 cup of olive oil here. We're going to toss that in there as well. And you want to make sure that's tossed really well. You want to make sure everything has been touched by the olive oil. And that's how hard that is. Now I went ahead and I've lined my baking sheet with some non-stick aluminum foil. Regular aluminum foil is fine. Don't worry. And we're going to take our pesto and we're going to brush it on the chicken breast just like this. You want to use about 1 tablespoon or so per chicken breast. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it spread on there as evenly as you can. Voila! Now we're going to take our topping and we're going to evenly distribute that on top of each piece of chicken to which we have spread the basil pesto, the basil pesto. Then what you want to do, go around and give everything a gentle press, just like that. Oh, and the non-stick foil, I also spread some olive oil on the foil. My oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and we're going to pop this in there for 25 to 30 minutes until the chicken is cooked through, or a meat thermometer reads 165 degrees. I'll bring you back when these come out of the oven. All right, there is our crunchy Parmesan chicken breast that just came out of the oven, and I cannot tell you how good it smells in my kitchen. Smells amazing, and I can't wait to eat dinner. So what I'm gonna do now is go fix you guys a plate so you can see what this looks like. Our Parmesan crusted pesto chicken, or Parmesan pesto crusted chicken, whatever you call it. Don't call me late for dinner, honey, because this is just gonna be delicious. This went together so simply, as you saw. It baked for about 30 minutes, and it's just perfectly done. And you can make this ahead of time before you bake it before you bake it. You could just wrap it and pop the tray in the fridge. You can have a whole tray ready to go, and then you just pop it in the oven for a half an hour. And while you get everything ready for your Easter buffet, then this is going to be ready to go in no time. I am pairing this tonight for our dinner with some roasted lemon asparagus and a bow tie pasta that is simply dressed with some roasted garlic pasta sauce, and that is our dinner tonight. we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna make our glaze and we're gonna take care of our ham. I have my ham in a roasting pan. I don't have it on a rack. We're actually gonna go ahead and flip it this way, okay? This is how I prefer to roast my ham. Now the one thing is, when you get a ham that is not spiral sliced, you are going to have to score the outer rind. Just a little bit. It just don't have to do a big deal, but you do have to score it. Otherwise this skin is gonna buckle on you and then it won't look pretty. That's all. Especially this thick rind part. You wanna make sure that you get that scored. So then what you wanna do is you wanna come up the opposite direction from where you just came. Kind of go the opposite direction like this. So you're making like a diamond pattern. And you don't have to cut too deep, and that should almost do it. We're gonna move on to our glaze. So let me move this out of the way. What we have, we're doing a spiced peach glazed ham. What better way to start that off than 1 cup or 1 jar, this is an 8-ounce jar, of my homemade peach jam. Just get that in there. I'm also gonna add about 1/4 cup of Dijon mustard. This will give it a really lovely tang, and it kind of cuts through the sweetness a bit, because the best part about a ham glaze is it has to have like an even amount of sweet to sour, or, you know, tangy. And I'm going to add, this is my Holiday Hearth seasoning blend, and this has cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, allspice, cardamom, mace. It has a whole bunch. This is also the same thing I use in my fruit cake, and traditionally you would put cloves on a ham if you were going to make it old school style with, you know, cloves and pineapple and maraschino cherries and all of that goodness. But this time we're going to use it as the flavor profile in our glaze. So I'm going to go and I'm going to bring our ham back, and don't worry, I'm not going to painstakingly brush this whole thing, but I am going to use the brush to kind of even things out. But I'm just going to go ahead and pour this glaze right over top, because that makes things easy. And then you can just get in here and brush that glaze up the side and make sure you get a nice even coat all the way around. And then what we want to do is we want to get a little bit of water. Okay, now I'm going to add a cup of water. This is just the jar that the jam came out of. I'm adding a cup of water down to the bottom of the pan because I am not going to cover this. I'm going to leave it just the way it is. I have my oven preheated at 325 degrees, so we're not really cooking the ham as much as we're setting the glaze. We want to heat the ham all the way through, but we don't want to overcook it and dry it out, because it will do that if you put it in the oven for too long. You don't want to put this in there for too long on too high of a heat, because the sugar in that glaze is going to burn. So the water in the bottom of the pan is going to serve two purposes. As it roasts, it's going to keep the ham nice and moist, and it's going to evaporate. Then the glaze is going to be nice and sticky. You're going to want to go in there after the first hour. You're going to want to baste this about every 15 minutes just to make sure that the glaze stays on the ham and everything gets beautiful and coated, and you get a nice shellacky kind of outer shell on your ham. So I'm going to pop this in the oven. We're going to roast this for about 2.5 hours, and when we come back, I'll show you what it looks like. There you have it. There is our spiced peach glazed ham. Then it's all ready for dinner. After it came out of the oven, I flipped it so that I could actually glaze the cut side of the ham, and then I just let it cool off, and it's just lovely.
That is heaven.
That was really good. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I made this delicious spiced peach glazed ham. It really is delicious, and I would be excited to hear if you use this for your Easter table or anytime, because it's really, really delicious. We're going to go over all of the ingredients for our honey glazed pork tenderloin, and this is so easy. I love pork tenderloin because they cook quickly, they're delicious, and they're super versatile. So I have 1 package of pork tenderloin. They always come with 2 tenderloins in them. You can trim them if you like. Usually there's not a lot of trimming that needs to be done. I see a little piece of fat here I'm going to take off. But other than that, you know, it's usually fairly clean. They do a really good job of cleaning these before they get to the consumer. So up to you. You can take off these little pieces of fat. It's super easy just with a sharp knife and you're done. We're gonna glaze this up. I actually have it on the pan I'm gonna be roasting it on. We're gonna rub this down with some seasonings. What I have in here is a teaspoon each of cracked black pepper, kosher salt, onion powder, garlic powder, paprika, and poultry seasoning. And we're just gonna go ahead and mix those up. And we'll rub down those tenderloins with this. And then we're gonna mix up a glaze that's a quarter of a cup of honey, quarter of a cup of orange juice, and 3 to 4 cloves of minced garlic. That's as easy as this gets. All right, I went ahead and I mixed up our little glaze with the honey, the orange juice, and the garlic. It tastes a little bit on the sweet side for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of acidity by tossing in a little balsamic vinegar. This is gonna also help it married with the side dish that I'm gonna be making, which is a roasted vegetable pasta salad, which will also have balsamic vinegar in it. So I'm gonna give this a bit of a taste, see how we like it. Oh, that's better. That's nice. Okay, so this is how hard this is. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna sprinkle our seasoning on these tenderloins. And very important to season your meat properly. Otherwise, you just have a very bland dish. Now, this is how simple it is. You're just gonna glaze this with this honey and orange juice glaze. Just kind of pat it on there so that you don't remove that rub. And then we're gonna put this in a 350-degree oven. And we're going to roast it for about 25 to 35 minutes or until the meat thermometer comes out with a reading of 165 degrees, and then you can take it out. I'm gonna stop one more time about halfway through the cooking time, and I'm going to glaze it one more time with the remainder of this glaze. So this is gonna go in the oven, and we'll be back when this is ready to come out. And there you have it, our delicious honey glazed pork tenderloin ready for dinner. I made sure that my meat thermometer read 160 degrees. I let it rest for 10 minutes before I sliced it, and here we are. I took the sauce that was in the bottom of the pan after we basted it, and I just poured it from the pan after it cooked into this little dish in case anyone wants to kind of drape that over their meat when it comes time to serve. So that is how easy it is to make this delicious roast pork tenderloin with a honey glaze. It's super delicious and super easy. Not only is this great for family on a weeknight or anytime, it's really great again for your Easter or spring celebration buffet or dinner. I think this would be a great option to consider. You can do a couple of these and just roast them on a sheet pan, have them ready. The best part about roasted meat is it doesn't necessarily have to be super hot when you serve it, and you can serve it at room temperature and it's still going to be delicious. As long as whatever sauce you're serving with it is heated through, that's going to warm the meat just right, and everyone's going to be able to enjoy it. I hope you give this honey glazed pork tenderloin a try sometime soon, and I hope you love it. And until next time, I'll see ya.